You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a
looking
bat, I
at
don't
the
know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
best
boils
rising
over
star
like,
in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you had shut the fuck up real bad.
Shut up.
Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome to the most awesome podcast. And I am your host, Heel, and I'm here with MK, and we are here to talk about all your wrestling news and rumors. And
Yes, sir.
please enjoy the Hill of the Ring podcast. So, MK, how's everything going, my dude?
Everything's okay. Just been it's been a weird, interesting week in the world of pro wrestling. Especially with the news that we got this past within the last 24 hours. I guess we can discuss about that. That's been the most newsworthy thing.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to elaborate on like the whole how wrestling feels right now to lead off the show before we got to the meats and potatoes of it all, because right now I don't know if anyone could tell, but we're starting to get to that, not even starting to, I feel like we are in that whole I guess you say feeling of wrestling where it's like now comes the fight where we try to fight for things to be interested in, because
Yeah.
even when Cody is starting to be put in 6-man tags or whatever, then we're starting to have some problems.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like we're in this post-Mania season right now, where
Mhm.
I feel like every year we're especially between mid-April to, I would say, like early July, we're kind of in this transition period, where you're introducing new people. Things are kind of a little bit slow at the moment, especially looking into the Backlash card that this show is happening next Sunday. And it's not the most earth-shattering thing, but it's like we tend to go through these peaks and valleys, and I guess right now we just came off of that high from Mania, and now we're it's kind of, especially on SmackDown, it's kind of just been in the lull period right now, where it's like the things are just kind of in a transition,
Yeah.
because things are just being built up, and all that.
Yeah, I don't think I have it written down here, so well technically shout out to Jedi. He's the one that actually you know um basically gave us all of like our info and all that, kept us up to date. But everything like that, but like all I know is apparently there's going to be I'm just trying to make sure, like, in case, so you know I don't think it's here. Yeah, you know what? Just in case it is, we'll save it for later. But
Mhm.
let's just put it like this. I'll just say this: a lot of people were disappointed in what we heard we're gonna get at Backlash.
Yes, yeah,
But
yeah.
before we get into that,
Mhm.
I'll just say prepare yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because wrestling's about to get really iffy right now. but it's okay. But my last question though, before we get into that, is: do you feel like these chill periods in wrestling are needed just for us to get a recharge per se?
Kind of, and I say kind of because one, we as fans always want, good wrestling, good shows to happen on a consistent basis. Like we want every show to be good, but at the same time, having these transitional periods, in the short term to build to something better in the long run is needed. And it's like we have to also be realistic too, where it's like not every show is gonna be a hit. Not every period throughout the year is gonna be a hit. Just like, whether it's WWE or AEW, every pay-per-view that AEW goes through, you always go through that 3 to 4 5 week period where it's kind of just whatever. They're just kind of starting feuds, kind of going through a transition, right? Same with WWE when they go through a big transition. Whenever they come off of a big pay-per-view, they go through these next couple months where they're trying to build new people and whatnot. So it's on one hand, as a viewer, you're kind of like, I kind of want these shows to be better in a way, but at the same time, it's like they're building towards something too. So it's like at least they're trying to build something, for the future.
All right. So now we're going to the 10 wrestlers that got released.
Wah, wah, wah.
Now I'll be honest with you, I did not see the wrestlers that got released. So I guess you can bring them up one by one, and I'll just give my opinion on if they matter or not.
Yeah, because I don't have the list on me at the moment. There's 10 wrestlers. I think a few of those were I haven't really heard of, but there was only 4 that
yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Meh.
I mean, Dakota Kai is a very interesting one, so I want to get back to her when we talk about another person who also got released in that same list. Yeah, because there's a story behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Paige. I'm gonna butcher this name, but I'm gonna try my best because I always find this funny. Paige Prizavali.
Don't really know. Was she the chick that was with the other dude on TV? I don't know. I can't.
I don't know. So who cares? Heartland Parker Bordox?
Yeah, the dude that everybody thought he was gonna be. People thought that he was like the new Brock Lesnar when they saw pictures of him. He was with he was doing
yeah, never compare. Like that's how he was doomed to fail then. If you
I think it's because what happened was like fans when they looked at him before he came up to TV, he looked like he looked like Brock Lesnar. That's what the fans kind of thought about, but that's not what WWE positioned him. Instead, he was a heavy for a guy named Joe Gacy, who was doing this weird millennial PC cult leader thing. So on NXT. So yeah, which I was kind of surprised that they actually did release it because it was kind of in a ongoing story right on 2.0.
Next we got Priscilla Parada, Stephanie DeLandra, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, like next we got Sanjana Georgia Vishkanya.
Don't know.
Yeah. Next we got Draco Anthony Reginald Chase Cruz.
Don't know. Don't know.
Next we got Mila Montana in parentheses Kelly Morga.
No, don't know.
Yeah, next we got Raylan Divine in parentheses Jalen Williams.
Don't know. Don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just like I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, but besides Dakota Kai and Dexter, Lumis.
There's only 4. It's Harlan, Malcolm Bivens, and Dakota, Kai, and Harlan are the only 4 that are recognizable. Everybody else I don't really know.
And-
But to go back to what I was saying before, so apparently, the reason why Bivens and Dakota Kai got released because they didn't want to renew their contracts. So, they chose not to renew their contracts. So, and I think for Dakota Kai, it was one of those things where she was doing dark matches for SmackDown and Raw, I believe. And I guess the rumors going around is that the WWE officials didn't see her as main roster material, and I guess that's kind of the reason. And another report is that they for her was they didn't have any plans for her for the main roster, so they just kind of cut her, so to speak, or that's what happened. Where it's like they didn't have any plans for her, and she decided, well, I'm not going to renew my contract, so there you have it. So it's like, okay, I can understand that, where it's like, for the wrestler, I get why. It's like if you don't have any plans for the person, and if you're not interested, then you don't need to renew your contract. I can actually respect that. It's not a I don't really feel bad about that, because it's like, you know what, the wrestler is like, hey, I don't really feel valued here. I don't think there's no plans for me, so I might as well go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. As for
especially
yeah,
with
go ahead.
Oscar, and plus with we'll do one by one if that's okay. And plus with Oscar returning, that women's division, if you look at it, it's actually really stacked. So it's gonna be really hard to stand out.
Yeah, that's the thing. But also too, it's like the reason why I didn't the thing is, it's like with Dakota Kai, it's like I'm not saying that she wouldn't like do well on TV. It's just that maybe it's one of those things that's like, she can't be on NXT forever because she's been on there for like forever. But at the same time, it's like you don't have any plans for her on the main roster, so what do, right? You don't want it to be another, let's say, you don't want to tell her to become a coach or anything, like we heard about the whole Ember Moon situation, which I don't know if you heard about that,
Oh yeah, I heard Ember Moon's like pissed at creative or something like that. And
which I wanted to discuss about that too, but
I mean, let me just tell you my thoughts on
yeah, go ahead.
Dexter Lumis real quick, because I don't want to just go all over the place.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dexter Lumis, I'll be honest with you, I don't really care all that much about NXT 2.0. So every time I heard Dexter Lumis, I was like, oh, that guy again.
Dexter Lumis was an interesting case, but I also thought, it's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things where the gimmick would work on NXT, but you don't know if it would work on the main roster, And I don't know if, let's say, the Dexter Lumis gimmick would have worked on the main roster, Like I didn't envision Dexter Lumis doing the stalker gimmick on Raw or SmackDown. And even if that's the case, I feel like it would have a very, 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 very short shelf life, And then it's like once you get through that, then what do you do there, I know he was in a storyline with Indy Hartwell with the whole romantic angle, but it's like, I don't know if that's something that they wanted to bring up to the main roster. I don't know. It sucks for these guys and girls that they got released, but it's at the same time, it's like I'd much rather if they don't have any plans for you, it's better that they just let you go and you go do things elsewhere, and you get to showcase your skills elsewhere than just be in purgatory in the performance center.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just like when it comes to Lumis, you can tell he just, like, no offense to the guy, you can just tell his destiny was to go to TNA at some point.
Samuel Shaw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean those are the only like noteworthy. Like,
Wait,
releases.
was that literally him?
It was him, Harlan, Dakota Kai. Malcolm
so
Bivens.
Samuel Shaw this whole time was Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I nailed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So 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 those are basically the releases for at least the ones that are notable that happened on Friday. And I heard that there may be, this is the rumor that we've heard was WWE, there's an investor call coming in, I think sometime later in the week, I think May 5th, I think it is. And usually the speculation is that since they're gonna get an investor call and they're gonna have their quarterly earnings, that would imply that there's gonna be more releases coming in. And I think some of them are gonna come from the main roster. So we may have to go through another set of releases, especially if from the main roster, or maybe even more from NXT. I don't know. We'll probably have to wait and see about that, um, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, it's like if there's people on the roster you're not using, then you might as well just cut them, I guess.
Yeah, like I think one of the reasons why WWE might not let Ember Moon go is because I think her character would actually really succeed in a place like Impact or AEW. So I think they're gonna try to get her on good terms.
Yeah, because she has no character. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like, because that was the thing. It's like, so the whole thing with her was that they wanted her to make her into a coach because they had nothing for her, you know. And I was like, okay, and she didn't want to do it, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Do what you got to do. If you feel that you could do more, then great. I can respect that. But let's be honest, Ember Moon is. People say, oh, she was a great wrestler and all. They could have done more. Like, bro, she hadn't. Her gimmick was like for the longest time. I was like, what's her character? Is she trying to be a werewolf or some shit? I don't know. Excuse my language.
but yeah. Next we got AEW Rampage. So next so we had Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland. Now, did you watch that?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to check much of Rampage this week. No, I didn't
Yeah.
get to check much of Rampage this week. No.
I was thinking about this too, and I was like, you know what? When you think about it, one of the things that I wish Tony Khan would do, and I'm not saying Wednesday is necessarily the worst day for a wrestling show, because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he would move his wrestling show at least to Tuesday.
You mean Tuesday Rampage?
Yeah. I know that doesn't have the best ring to it, but if you think about it, I mean, it's pretty much what it has to be because it has no choice. Tuesday is literally like the Diet Monday. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, that you could work,
I mean,
but I
like,
don't.
so.
Go ahead.
But Wednesday is when people start making plans and stuff like that. So, and on top of that, I mean, I think it would just be a lot more smart of a decision to just have one show and have it be a 3-hour event. Because if you think about it, right now you're in the middle of baseball season and then in the NBA playoffs, and maybe that's why wrestling isn't going all out right now because they realize that. So I was thinking to myself, if you're AEW Rampage and you like to have 20-30 minute matches anyway, why not have one AEW show, and that's on a Tuesday, and make it a 3-hour event? Because, like I said, you like having 20-30 minute matches anyway.
But I also think too, and I get that, but I think maybe it's just for me. It's like I don't like the idea of having a 3-hour weekly television show.
Oh, shut up! You're a wrestling fan.
But for real, like
you can't have enough wrestling if you don't have enough Colten and
no, but for real though, it's like, yeah, I like watching wrestling, but I also feel like there is such thing as too much of a good thing, because I didn't like the idea of them
But it's
doing 3 hours.
it's one weekly show though. It's not like it's gonna be a two.
Yeah, but I understand. I just feel like in general, 2 hours, a 2 hour wrestling show is enough. But I do agree on the idea of them moving Rampage to a different night. I do agree on that. But I also feel that Rampage needs to kind of set itself, like in a way, it's kind of like, to me, I think of it as more of an extension of Dynamite. You know what I mean? Like, because you have your set of wrestlers. You don't the wrestlers that you don't see on Dynamite that week, you tend to see them on Rampage. And I kind of feel like for the longest time, Rampage has been like the Team Taz show for the longest time. You know, um, and I just feel like aside from like the matches and stuff, there's nothing really much there, unless it's a live Rampage show where they have like a title match or something like that, and it's not spoiled, And I think that's what's hurting Rampage too, where it's like it's taped, and there's nothing really much going on, and it's just kind of there, It's like what I said weeks ago. It's what SmackDown was pre-brand split days, so where it's just like, oh, it's just an hour or 2 hours of wrestling with no storyline progression. It's like you didn't
Yeah,
miss anything.
and I
You
can't
know,
wait to have those monkeys in the back come on so we can talk to them about a problem we have.
I like the idea of them switching Rampage to a different night. Um, but I think maybe Tuesday is not a bad idea, but I don't know if they want to compete with NXT because. But
Bro,
I think
they're AEW. They don't have to worry about competing with NXT.
I mean, true, but the thing is, it's funny enough, like 2.0, NXT 2.0 and the ratings is doing better than Rampage, you know? And NXT 2.0 is a developmental show, which is
But
kind of funny.
I'm
Which is,
just saying, if you invest all that money into AEW and you got to worry about competing with the developmental company, bro, you got issues.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I would think Thursdays would be a little bit more better for them, but yeah,
It worked for Impact, so I guess why not? I don't know.
yeah, basically.
Oh, but then
Yeah. hmm
yeah, I mean, it was what it was, and then
So
I
I did get to see a little bit of Dynamite though.
you did.
No, yeah, I got to see a bit of Dynamite this week, and I feel like Dynamite this week was showcasing a lot of factions this week with the Blackpool Combat Club and their 6-man tag, and the Undisputed Elite, um, and oh yeah, and also the did he actually get to see the Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler match?
Uh, I'll be honest with you, dude. So I was trying to go back and forth. Okay, and everyone knows I'm a big baseball fan. And sorry. It was a little bit of baseball and a little bit of the Mavs game. So and this is why I'm trying to tell people it's so hard to compete with this because you got to recognize this. So I was going back and forth, and I kept getting distracted by one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, I was like, okay, this is good,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of into the matches or whatnot. But then I'll be honest with you, I kind of would lose traction and start, focusing on the games.
Yeah.
But did I technically watch it? Yes, I did. Did
So you did watch the FTR match.
some of it.
The funny thing was about the match. So I saw bits and pieces of the match, and someone on Twitter made a comparison of, because a lot of it was tributes to old Bret Hart matches, you know, and they were doing like spots from old Bret Hart matches, which was kind of interesting. And plus, even they were wearing like Bret Hart aspired gear, which is also I noticed too, because FT is a big Bret Hart fan, and they were doing like a lot of spots in the match that resembled like Bret versus Owen, Bret versus Razor,
Yeah, and Darby won, by
etc.
the way, for those that are which is a good choice. Again, Darby
Yeah.
Allin has momentum.
Yeah, so the only thing I want to know is like, have they even revealed the brackets for the Owen Hart tournament?
Uh, I I don't know if they revealed the whole entire bracket. All I know is we're going back match by match. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like we talked about the other week, where it's like I feel like they're making up the tournament as they go along. You know, um, I thought this was like I don't know if it's a 16-person tournament or something like that. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see it goes because the tournament finals are supposed to happen at Double or Nothing. You know, and speaking of Double or Nothing, um, they made it official. Hangman Page versus CM Punk for the AEW
Okay,
World Title.
that should be a good match. That's the kind of matches CM Punk should be having.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. You know what? Big applause for Tony Khan. Finally, something smart that he's doing. You know, they're really
And
smart. They got to be smart. That's how you make
bec-
money. You
and I
be
think
smart.
this is something good for Hangman too, because I feel like he had the feud with Danielson first, which that was cool, but I kind of felt like the last, I would say, 2 months or so have kind of just been eh.
I
But
like
now
how you
he's
did. I like how you didn't even give that an applause. You're just like, on to the next subject. Who cares?
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, but that's a good thing. Like
You know what?
that's a
We
good, but
we
that's a
got
great
it.
main event.
We
But
got an
that's
imposter, ladies and gentlemen. That's your fake AEW supporter right there. I'm the
no,
real
but
one.
no. Yeah, sure you are.
Yeah,
We all know you got a
yeah.
we all know you got freaking Vince McMahon on speed dial. All right.
It's not
Um,
my fault. I got distracted by the Mavs game. Okay, they
but
were
yeah,
going back and forth. Shut up.
but but I will say this though.
Okay.
But I will say this, that them doing Punk versus Hangman for the main event is great. I think that's gonna be a really good match to see. I'm curious if they're gonna actually pull the trigger and actually have Hangman lose the title to Punk. You know, and I think if this is something that's gonna be a lengthy feud, maybe it goes into, like, I can see a scenario being where Hangman wins, but then they do a rematch uh in All Out in a few months, and I don't know if All Out's gonna be in Chicago again, and maybe that's when they're gonna probably have Punk win the championship in his hometown. That's a possibility, you know?
I don't. I would have mixed feelings about that. If CM
Yeah.
Punk was just like 5 years younger, you'd be like, yay! But he's like what 41 or something like that now.
Actually, he's like 40. He's like 44. No, 43ish, right around there.
It's like okay. I agree. Down the line, CM Punk should get a title run. But if I had to book a fight for him in Chicago, it would be with them just having a good fight, and then the champion beats CM Punk, and then CM Punk, like, I guess you say, he does a passing on the torch type of deal where he raises the other guy's hand.
The thing is, would you have Punk win the championship at Double or Nothing though? Come this in the next few weeks.
No, because I guess it depends. It depends how the fans are receiving Adam Page by that point. If Adam Page isn't getting a big reaction in these next few shows in Chicago, then you give Punk the title. I'm fine.
Well, Double or Nothing is gonna be in Vegas as always.
Oh, Vegas, sorry.
Yeah. So though when I said the All Out, when I mentioned the Chicago thing, I was referring to if they're gonna do it in All Out, that's the next pay-per-view after. No, actually, no. The next pay-per-view is the Forbidden Door. They're doing that in Chicago with the
Oh
New
yeah,
Japan and the.
that's why you got me confused. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, because I was wondering, because whenever they do All Out, right, they usually do it in Chicago. So I was
Yeah, because I
assuming,
was
like,
gonna say I remember watching someone else's show,
hmm,
and they were talking about it having in Chicago, and I was like, how's this next show not gonna happen in Chicago? I'm like,
I guess that's possible, unless
yeah.
that's possible. If they could, if they want a big attraction, maybe for that show where you have CM Punk uh as the AEW champion facing off maybe the IWGP World Champion. They could do something like that.
Oh, you know what I would do if I'm Tony Khan just to get a lot of viewers? I would hit up that phone. I'd be like, "Yo, what's up, my homie? Listen, I know he's not under contract with us, but we're willing to toss over a couple of dollars. You know, we're rich and all that. And I was just wondering, if we can borrow Okada for like maybe like a good, at least in the next pay per view. Make him a AEW champion." And
I
maybe
mean, look,
looking at the next step at New Japan AEW event, and also you know and also how cool it'll be for our company if he was there fighting like on a weekly basis of the next review. I mean, that would be so hip, homie. Can we just borrow your boy
did
for
you
like
did you just say Tony Khan's gonna be saying hip homie? I know he's a
yeah.
I know he's a millennial like the rest of us, but damn, but I'm like, this guy said hip. I'm dead. Like, what century are you from?
I'm just saying, if I'm totally calm, just like, can I just borrow your homie for like till the next
No, you.
review? That's all I want.
Oh my god, no. But I mean, it's a pot. I mean, Okada has mentioned in an interview that he would love to work with Punk. So maybe they may do that match. Maybe it's Punk versus Okada, and they put the AEW World Title on the line. That could be a big drawing match for the main event.
Uh,
You know,
every hardcore fan would absolutely just melt,
they
melt
would
in their
just they
seat.
would just
It,
explode on the
I don't, no, no,
screen.
no, no. They would, but imagine like a triple threat: Hangman Page versus Punk versus Okada for the
Now
AEW World Title.
they wouldn't really pop as hard if it's a triple threat, unless if it's
No, no,
Brian
no.
Danielson
They
in there.
would,
And no,
they would.
if it's Brian Danielson or Kenny Omega in it, then they will pop even more.
Fine, make it a fatal 4-way.
Because I feel like if they add Danielson in there, then it's like, oh, we're getting Punk versus Brian versus Okada. What's going on here? And then if you
Oh,
add, let's say, and then if you add Hiroshi Tanahashi in there, bro, that'd be like
okay. Now we're overbooking.
you want to talk about the greatest fatal four way match in the history of the IWC fandom? You know, trust me, they'll give that match at least like a solid 10 stars.
All right, let's just move on. We went too far now.
All right, so that's all
So
I can say much about with AEW, which was
and by the
that.
way, Darby Allin was an Owen Hart qualifying match. By the way, so next we got Chris Jericho apparently awarded himself Entertainer of the Week or whatever. It's whatever, and um, trying to find the next thing.
I guess we
Tony
can.
Schiavone and everybody to interview Darby.
I actually got something that I wanted to ask you.
Oh yeah, Keith Lee defeated Colten Gunn.
I actually have something that I would like to
What's
ask,
that?
and it's relating to a little bit of AEW,
What's
kind
that?
of. You heard about the recent comments that Becky Lynch made about the AEW women's division.
What was that?
I think she did an interview. I forgot where it was from, but she mentioned something about that. You know how she says that WWE's women's division is the best women's division, and AEW needs to do a better job in booking their women's division. You know,
Yeah,
what are your comments about that? Because that's been a big discussion like early on in the week.
I mean, if I don't think this is even biased to say, but women do get treated better in WWE. I mean, the WWE has made huge strides. I mean, then again, the WWE has to because they're in the mainstream. They're more mainstream than any other company. If they didn't do that, then obviously they wouldn't be WWE. Like
Well, that
AEW doesn't have that pressure on them. No other company does. I mean, you can argue New Japan to some extent because they're mainstream over there in Japan, but that's about it. I mean, but other than that, no one has bigger pressure on them to deliver and treat their superstars or wrestlers, whatever you want to say, right, than the WWE. So yes, that is just facts.
I know I've saw and my whole just to give my bit of 2 cents in this. I know there's been a lot of fans that they're saying no, the AEW's women's division is better. Look, I gotta be honest. no offense to the AEW women's division. This is not me trying to be a hater or anything, but aside from maybe one or two people, let's say like Britt Baker, and maybe Thunder Rosa, like who else you really got in that division? A lot of the
Guerrero.
oh god. You know, look. Is there potential there? Yes, there's potential, but at the same time, like,
have potential. She hit her prime, man.
okay, all right, okay, all right. But no, but they have potential. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I feel like some of them are very green, or just they're not really that over, right? And I feel like, and let's be honest, this is this AEW when they first came into existence. You know, they talked about, hey, we're gonna do things better for the women than WWE would do, right? And to be honest with you, they barely feature them every single week. You know, it's like it took.
You know, on a real note though, let's just call it how it is. Vicky Guerrero is the most entertaining woman in general in AEW, and she's the most memorable. It's that simple. I don't.
When was the last time Vicky Guerrero was even on TV?
I hate to admit it, but it is so true. The moment I saw Vicky Guerrero on AEW, I was like, I don't know why, but she sticks out more than anyone there. And I know part of it has to do because she's a Guerrero and she's also obviously a former WWE employee. But it's like another reason is because unlike most of the other women there, she has a character, and it's the sad part is she's not even a performer. She's a manager / valet.
And not to mention, like, look, here's the thing. And I said that they have potential. They really do. It's just that at the same time, they're not really highlighting them as much, especially when this is a company that said before that, oh, we're going to do things better than what our competitors doing with the women, even though they rarely feature them every single week. You know,
yeah,
it's kind of ironic. It's like, oh, we're gonna do better than WWE, but we're not. But you actually aren't.
Excuse me.
And it's like,
excuse me.
And it's like, look, you know the funny. Okay, relax.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's apparently this is I don't know if this is true or not, but it sounds like it. But apparently, someone said that Dana Brooke gets more TV time than the current AEW Women's Champion. I think she's only had like one match and like maybe 3 minutes worth of segments of the past like month and a half, which is kind of ridiculous because when Britt Baker was the champion, she was on TV every week. When Thunder Rosa's champion, or when anyone else besides Britt Baker, they just feel like an afterthought, which is kind of hilarious but sad.
I just want to point this out, like for any AEW fan that's like, oh, you're insulting our division, whatever. Like, I'm not trying to. If anything, you guys having Vicky Guerrero is actually a good thing. Like, in my opinion, because it does help. All you gotta do is utilize it right, and that's basically it. And you know, and also I'll give AEW this, and like I said, it's like their women's division is still building. So, you know, again, I'm also gonna defend you guys. So, you know, I'm just saying for any AEW fan that watches this,
like I said, they have potential. It's just that over the last 3 years, they haven't really done much to really make it exciting. But that's just it with me. Could it change? Yeah, of course. Could it be better? Of course. You know, anything's possible. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
So next we got Keith Lee defeating Colten Gunn, which, you know, I do like the fact that they're pushing Keith Lee, but
they are.
I guess they are. AEW-ish kind of pushing it. I don't know AEW's logic of pushing wrestlers because they can be so inconsistent with how they push wrestlers.
Did you just say that AEW is inconsistent with something? Oh no!
I've been saying that. It's like, I don't know, because like I guess they decided, hey, let's push Keith Lee for once. I don't know. It's just like, and
oh boy.
Again, it's like
half the time I forget Keith Lee is even on the roster.
Oh no, I did forget until I saw the results.
Dude, I feel like every time I look at a bit of AEW, I'm like, are they still feuding with freaking with Team Taz. I'm like, how long has this been feud going on for? Like 6 weeks? Like, what's going on here?
I'm just
You
gonna
know?
be honest with you. Like, I don't like. No disrespect to Taz. I'll always like respect the dude. He's an amazing guy, but I don't care if he does something as a performer anymore. I really don't.
Well, to be honest, they kind of be treated as jobbers every other week. You know, that
Like
doesn't.
like I think TNA treated him the best. He just belongs behind the commentary desk now.
Honestly, and here's the thing: I like Team Taz. It's just that I like I like Will Hobbs. I like Ricky Starks. I just like the whole act. It's just that they're treated as they should be actually treated a lot better than they should. You know, because I actually like the stable, but they're treated like jokes. You know, it's like they would always be like the first feud for someone who came in, and they're always losing to them all the time. And it's like, come on. Like, I look at Will Hobbs as someone that could be a future player for that company, even Ricky Starks. But it's like they're treating them like crap every time I see them in the ring. And you got Hook, which I mean, look, everybody's talking about Hook, but it's like, okay, whatever. But I feel like Team Taz should be booked better and be actually treated a little bit more like threats. And as for Keith Lee, honestly, look, he's only been in the company for 2 months, so obviously I'll give it a little bit more time. But so far,
Oh
he's not.
wait. There's more.
What? What's more?
The Hardys, and not the
Oh,
Undisputed, but the Undisputed Elite.
ooh.
Hype up Hardy versus Bobby Fish. So I guess they're no longer shock the system; they're shock the cons.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so I guess we're gonna get eventually Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Fish for the Owen Hart tournament.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Which on paper, like you were about to say, I guess, which on paper, I'm not. It should be a good match.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna give AEW that. But again, we're used to getting good matches from AEW. That's just the only problem.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
salute.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey,
What's
hey,
up?
What is
we
going on?
need to have a little talk
Yeah, we definitely do.
because you're the monkey in the back, and the last time I checked, aren't we supposed to have like great production? This big grandeur. Great, just great production all around. It's supposed to be like WrestleMania every week for our viewers, and
Absolutely.
instead you invite us on with no music, no
I mean,
hype.
to be fair, he did. You know,
No,
I'm gonna be on Kev's
no,
side on this one.
no. Shut up, MK. After all, you're a jobber. You don't know what it's like to be on
Whoa.
a big level.
Am I being future endeavored right now?
You
You
could
know,
be.
I had I had the pyrotechs, the DJ. I had everyone ready to go. And to
There we
have
go.
union workers on, they're expensive, especially when the talent decides to come an hour late.
We didn't come out late. You said
Yeah,
8:45.
8:45, and
And
the show started at 10. The show was supposed to start at 9. The original stream was 9 o'clock.
I
And
did
I changed it
everything.
to 10 because after 15 minutes, the applications and the other partners and Facebook and so forth, they canceled the stream.
I am the hardest worker here at Jedi Sports Network. How
Sure.
dare you say I came an hour late?
Sure.
You know what? I'll be professional. I apologize on that. You know,
What's up,
I
Isaiah
don't want.
Marshall?
I have to be professional on this because I came into the stream. I think like.
I saw you. I saw what you
yeah.
did, and if you look at the private chat, I wrote, "Don't go nowhere," and so forth, and you've gone because I'm doing a Yankee. I'm doing I'm doing actually 2 to 3 programs at the same time, and I'm doing a Yankee, and I have this stream on in the background, and I saw you there, so I'm trying to write and trying to call balls and strikes and watch along. And then you left quickly, and then I wrote to you. If you look at your Twitter handle, I wrote it right to your Twitter. Why did you leave? I saw you in the chat.
CMK, this is why you can never be the main host of any show here in the Jedi Sports Network. Just like
Hey,
me,
it's
I not
it's
only am a big star here on the
You're late.
Hillary
You're late.
podcast,
You're late.
but I am also a big star
You're
of every
late, and you
show
didn't
I'm a
even watch.
part
You
of.
didn't even watch NXT, and you're late. And you're
Who
supposed to be
watches
the. You want to be
NXT?
you want to be the main guy, and you didn't even watch the. You can't even tell me. You didn't even know who Dakota Kai. You didn't even know that Dakota Kai was given the NXT tag team titles on Stand and Deliver, and lost it the following night. The following.
Well, who cares about
event.
Dakota Kai?
And
I'm a
then,
big
they
star.
released her.
I'm a big star. I don't care about jobbers. Okay.
Oh my
Wow. You
No.
see, this is why when we used to do the podcast, I was the host and you were
The
just.
only reason why I
you-
carry MK around me is because he's here to carry my luggage and here to make sure I have a nice drink after the show.
All right.
Wow.
So we're talking. Obviously, I came into the wrestling organization that was formerly known as WCW, now AEW.
Yo, don't kill me. This guy said WCW.
I mean, it is rinse and repeat. Everything that's happening there.
Tell us how you really feel, Kev.
You know what? I did watch AEW, and I don't
Okay.
know if you spoke about the FTR match. You know,
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about it, but you can give your your 2 cents about it.
it was a phenomenal match. It was
Mhm.
a good match. I never seen two wrestlers imitate maneuvers by maneuver of Owen Hart and Bret the Hitman Hart WrestleMania 10th, excuse me. They imitated that match to perfection. The roll up
Yep.
pins. Wow, they make me like wow. AEW. Instead of you know how WWE had where the big boys play, AEW where we script what WWE used to do.
The sarcasm is real. I was like, where is this guy going with this? Because I mentioned I mentioned a few minutes ago, I was like,
This
I
is the
mentioned-
Jedi I love. This is the Jedi I love. No, go on, MK.
I mentioned this a few minutes ago. I was like, if you look at the match, you had bits and clips of the old Bret Hart matches. It wasn't even just the Owen matches. I remember there was a spot where they did a spot that was resembled to the Bret and Razor match from the Royal Rumble. I remember I retweeted a tweet where someone actually did a side-by-side comparison about they had like so many different spots, and it's funny enough, I see people in the comments be like, if I just wanted to see a Bret Hart match, I just would have watched a Bret Hart match.
Well, you know what's happening now
Mhm.
with the way these two sports entertainment right now, wrestling, we do tend to be a little tribal.
Yes.
And it's true. The AEW people, they have the blinders. They only want to see, and also the WWE people.
True.
But all in all, it was not for nothing. I was very entertained by AEW. No, all jokes aside, although even though I know it was a copy and paste, like I always said it. I said it from the beginning, from the very first show when AEW gave birth. I said this is WCW copy and paste. Lo and behold, it was Eric Bischoff that was helping Tony Khan get it up and running, and now they can't stand each other. That was on a recent podcast with that
Barstool, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Eric Bischoff said he's not welcome no more in any AEW events. Who knows what the hell happened between them? But I hate to deviate away from what we were talking about. Was the fight,
no worries,
the
no worries.
card? I think the whole card was Dynamite was pretty good. All in all, it was really good.
But you agree though they should probably think about moving it because like I said, I had a hard time paying attention because I had the 2 baseball games on one laptop.
On Wednesday night?
Yeah, then I had the show running over here and it was so hard, especially when it was like on the last hour or so and then the Mavs game was going on. I was like I can't take my eye with the Mavs
I don't
game
think
because
so. I think that's the perfect night for them for a new wrestling
No,
organization.
he meant Rampage. If they should
The
move Rampage.
Friday night program.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the Friday night program with Rampage. 10 o'clock at night. You're telling anyway, AEW, what they're catering to is the kids. It's not kids. They're catering to older folks, older guys like yourselves. That older people, they're not worrying about the young kids. 10 o'clock, that hour slot is like a kiss of death. That's a bad time slot on a Friday night. People go out to dinner, they go out, they do things. Either they travel, they're gonna travel to get somewhere Saturday morning, especially summer feel good Friday nights, etc. People are out and about. That's a tough night, man. To put you can't make Dynamite, you can't Rampage, you can't go head to head with Monday Night Raw, because then what happens with you're gonna get crushed by Monday Night Raw. Then don't forget, when football season comes around, you got Monday Night Football that you're gonna get crushed head to head with it. And if you I don't know, Sunday nights, you really don't want to do anything Sunday night, because usually that's the nights where you reserve for your premium live events and so forth. So it's hard to for them to come up with something. And plus, yeah, go ahead, Kim.
I was sorry to cut you off. But I was mentioning that what if they do Thursdays, because Thursdays is kind of a sweet spot too, where it's like it's the day before Friday, and usually sometimes Thursdays is always a good time for television anyways. There's no, aside from I guess Impact, there's no major wrestling show that's on weekly television during that day anyways. So I was thinking maybe if they do Rampage on a Thursday, could that work?
It could work, but here's the thing with that. Thursday night football. Because McMahon, Vince had the guts. Let's call it what it is. And to go against Monday Night Football in the 90s, along with WCW, they both had the guts to do it. But I don't think AEW, it isn't going to matter anyway, to be honest with you, because now Discovery merged with Warner, and now we don't know if the AEW and AEW's contract is up. Their TV rights are up at the end of the year, and there's talk about executives in the corporate world, in the TV world, don't really look at wrestling as a highly value program these days. So either you might even see them go into a streaming service and not even be on TV, which makes no sense, because now Khan decides to go buy Ring of Honor. And what are you going to do now with 3 wrestling programs, or we could say 2 wrestling companies, but 3 programs? And now you want to get in bed with New Japan with no TV deal. What's going to happen with So what you're going to do? You're going to ask people to pay for your service? I think, but honest with you, you even heard Tony Schiavone who's scared about that.
Honestly, when you think about it, it kind of would be smart to just get on a streaming service, because that is the most popular thing to do, especially if you can somehow work out a deal with Netflix or something like that.
It's an okay idea in theory, but the thing is, it's with television, it's a little bit, especially cable, it's more accessible for people. Plus, they make a lot of their money through they make a lot of their money through advertisements too, right? That's why it's like, I know for the longest time, an argument would have been made for WWE to say, hey, why don't they put their stuff on the network? Well, in theory, sure, if you put it on the network, it's fine, but then again, you're requiring for people to pay a certain subscription a month just to watch free television.
I'll argue
that they okay, go ahead.
I think it is a lot more smart to put your stuff on like any type of streaming service, only because we do live in an age where a lot more people would pay for a streaming service than they would for cable. If you think about it, when you go to a household, at least for me, I don't know about you guys, it is hard to find a family that does carry cable nowadays. They mainly have streaming services like apps. So when you think about it, it is a lot more smarter to just go with a streaming service than it would be to go with cable. But or if you want to, if you're at the very least, you could put Ring of Honor shows on YouTube or something like that and still put ads on them.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like
look at MLB. they have free MLB shows, but they still have ads at the beginning and whatnot.
Yeah, but when you watch a regular game, it's on like, well, I don't know, like ESPN or something like that,
No.
or
MLB's games on YouTube. They're free, and what?
yeah. So are you?
But they have ads at the beginning.
But
So-
imagine having to pay. Imagine having to pay a subscription to watch, let's say, a regular season game of like basketball or something.
You don't pay. You don't pay to watch MLB.
No, I'm saying like, but that's what you're kind of implying. It's like, imagine if they do put, let's say,
They can.
a show on a regular TV show on, because here's the thing too. It's like if you put it on free television, right? Let's say you put AEW Dynamite on television, right? And people watch it through television. It's a great way for people to advertise for the upcoming pay-per-views. So you're like, hey, you're watching these weekly shows. You like it? We're promoting a big pay-per-view that's on a subscription network, right? That's what these weekly shows are for. They're a vehicle for people to watch, potentially buy the pay-per-views, you know? So people would watch Raw on USA Network and be like, hey, they're promoting up this next upcoming pay-per-view that's going to be on Peacock in the next month or so. But if they have everything on Peacock, then where are they going to find the content? Not everything that they're going to put on YouTube. Because if they put it on YouTube, if they put all their content, let's say on Peacock or on the network or whatever, they're not gonna really post highlights on YouTube or on social media and whatnot. It's gonna be hard for people to actually, watch the product. You know what I mean?
I'll say this at the very least: if Tony Khan plays his cards right, he can make money really good, and on top of that, he has a chance to grow a lot of great wrestlers and make them into really big stars. But if he doesn't, then he's probably going to make a really big mistake here.
I will say this though: the only way I believe, and I do agree that streaming is going to be the norm, and it's kind of is the norm now. But it's going to be, I feel like, it's going to get to the point where the streaming service is going to be like what cable used to be, right? This is why you see streaming services actually being more expensive these days. But I feel like we won't get to that point until you see like everything, for the most part, is going to be on streaming services. You know, like you're going to get to the point where you see like NBA games are going to be on, hey, it's going to be on ESPN Plus or something like that.
You already have the hockey. You already have the hockey in the United States, at least, on ESPN Plus.
Yeah. So if it gets to that point where, everybody's going to do it, then I see wrestling doing the same thing too. And look, if it's on Peacock or if it's on the network, we just saw stats about WrestleMania doing great business on Peacock recently. So again, you never really know with these things, but I just feel like for now, it's better to keep these shows on television, so that way it's a great tool for them to market and advertise for the upcoming big live events for like Fight TV or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we continue with the AEW talk.
Yeah, and the next big thing to happen is Samoa Joe defeated Trent Beretta to retain the ROH TV title.
That was on Rampage, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. See, I didn't get to see the match, because I thought that was on Rampage, right?
Yeah. Did you speak about the fight between Wardlow and Lance Archer?
I saw the spot where Wardlow did the Hurricane Rana, that was pretty cool.
Right.
Wardlow is gonna be a big player. I really like him. He's kind of giving me a Batista-esque kind of vibes right now. I think I definitely see him one day being a future world champion for that company. I enjoy his work in the ring, and from the stuff that I saw from his match against Lance Archer, it was pretty good.
No, he had a good fight. He had a good fight with Lance Archer. Also, I don't know where they're gonna go with Lance Archer after this. Where they going with him? He's been under the tutelage of Jake the Snake. With going forward, he has a persona. I would have liked a disqualification when he wins. Something crazy like that. But all in all, they brought another big wrestler, and Archer's knocking them down, setting up, getting something. Once again, he came out with no theme song, but this time the crowd finally, Wardlow chants were more imprimative now. It wasn't like before. I guess must have heard the streamers complaining, chant Warlord, so it's starting to pick up some steam. It's getting over a lot of pop. You also saw MJF up in the balcony area, and he cut a promo. That Big Cass might be coming next week to fight Warlord.
That's a possibility, I guess.
Big Cass. The last time I saw him, he was in Impact.
Yeah, I mean, if he shows up, he shows up, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie, I still miss Enzo Amore.
Enzo Amore, I'd at least be interested about, but not Big Cass. And you can't teach that.
I would love for Enzo to sign with AEW. I'm not even gonna lie.
Who knows? He hasn't signed yet. He's out there. I don't know that.
He was proven innocent and everything like that, and he's one of the best characters to ever find. I mean, why not?
I mean, at least it adds a little more personality on All Elite Wrestling. But then again, AEW has way too many people.
I can just imagine that promo already. Wait, what's up? My name is Enzo Amore. I'm now officially All Elite, and you can't teach that.
Listen, we're All Elite. They have a 2-hour program, and they want to cram everybody to keep everybody happy in the program. And sometimes they have some really head scratching moves. And I'm gonna give you an example. We saw a really good fight, and you could tell the fight was a little sloppy and quick. And it had potential. It was the ladder match for the TNT Championship.
Ooh, yeah.
Sammy Guevara, Scorpio Sky. It was a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but there was a move there that I think Guevara got nailed fell on top of a barbed wire ladder, and he didn't sell it. He got back up like nothing because I don't know if TV time was restriction. They were going to end it and they need to wrap it up. But you saw those kind of moves, like, dude. Can you really sell me that you fell from the top of a ladder hard and so they just trying to cram too much stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem when you have a big roster. It's like you have a big roster, but you only have a certain amount of hours to fill, and then you can tell like the way they're kind of going about it is like everybody's kind of either in a faction, so the way to get to them on TV is to put them in a faction, or they have these weird 30-second segments on backstage. Someone does an interview and they immediately gets interrupted. But I mean that's the thing with hiring way too many people and not having much of a plan, right? And you leave them off TV for a little while. Look what happened to Ruby Soho. Look what happened to Jay Lethal for the first couple of months, And it's like, what are you gonna really do? Are you gonna start? And I said this before, and I'll say it again. I think AEW should do one or two things: either start cutting some people, they won't do, or B, they should consider doing a brand extension of some sorts, because I feel like, especially with them acquiring ROH, you got an extra an hour or two to fill. Why don't you put some of your talent on that show?
Tony Khan, I would hug you if you made Jay Lethal your AEW World Champion.
Like think of it this way: if you have ROH, basically, if you're gonna have a show on ROH, and you have some people on Dynamite that you're not on AEW that you're not using, you can just make them be a focal point on that show, while you still have other people that you usually want to use on AEW, you have it on there too, right? So that's the thing. It's like, okay, Jay Lethal, he could just focus on working on ROH for a majority of his run, maybe do a couple of shots on AEW Dynamite every now and again, but he's working ROH, Samoa Joe can work on ROH and be the big,
and that's what happens. When you're
but that's the thing.
I think they just got too. It's just the roster's too much saturated. He's too busy. He's too busy bringing too many wrestlers that get released immediately from the WWE. He doesn't let them go and find themselves, and you know, he wants to sign them immediately there, promises them the world, and then he's got the trainers, or he's got these living legends just to get us interested in, like Arn Anderson, Tony Blanchard. And there's nothing wrong with them. They I'm more power to them to get the belt, to get them a paycheck, know, and also now they also have Jake the Snake, they Billy Gunn. Look at the list, and I'm still missing folks out there. They also were thinking about bringing Bret Hart. But
Bret Hart is on the WWE Legends.
I know that. But my point is, they want to sign just because their names. So, hey, look, I got this guy here, even though they're just there. Like Jericho says, holding a Waffle House menu.
And here's another thing too. It's not like the people that got released from WWE that came to AEW is in a better spot. Let's be honest. With the exception of me, Keith
Lee's arguably in a worse spot.
Look. I remember there was a discussion that I saw on Twitter, and they said that they looked at the people that got either let go or they didn't want to renew their contracts from WWE that went to AEW. A lot of them, with the exception of maybe FTR, there hasn't been. Everybody else has kind of either been in the same spot they were in WWE or worse. So this kind of proves this idea of if you go to AEW, you're gonna have a much better career there is completely nonsense. Not just because you go to AEW or you go to a company that isn't WWE, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have a much better time there. Especially where you see people like, for example, Ruby Soho debut, and then she was gone for like 4 months. Malachi Black has been wrestling a bunch of scrubs for a good 4 or 5 months. Heck, I don't even remember the last time he actually been featured on pay-per-view. The last pay-per-view he was on a kickoff show. Buddy Matthews haven't even had a singles match yet. Yeah. Adam Cole is kind of just feels like a mid-card guy right now.
Andre Idolo is so up and down.
Yep. Andrade has been in the same spot he was just in WWE, but the difference is he's had like 500 managers, So it's like, and look, another thing too is that they're not really developing a lot of these characters too, especially with like Keith Lee just showed up, and we still really don't really know much about him in terms of like, oh, he's a great athlete, but who's really Keith Lee? Just like, oh, what's Tony Storm shows up.
To answer your question, because I'm Tony Khan. You see, we signed Keith Lee because he's a black guy that's big and can do flips.
Yeah, and I remember
that's all it was.
Yeah.
He got released from WWE, and that was pretty much it. And he had a little bit of fanfare. And look, I think Keith Lee has a lot of potential. But let's be honest, it's just he
can appeal to the minority.
Okay, all right. You're trying to be cute there, but and
he's a big guy that can do flips.
Yeah, but here's my point with Keith Lee.
You can't argue with I'm Gil Khan.
Okay, but here's my thing. It's like he's good athletically, but that's it. It's like
questioning my signing.
Okay, all right. I know you're trying to do a bit, but hear me out. But what I'm trying to say is like he's a good athlete, but at the same time, it's like once you get past that, there's not really much there. That's exactly, and that's a lot of the guys over there in
he's put on.
What match, my guy?
He had a 5-star match.
With who? He's been on AEW for 2 months. He got overshadowed in the ladder match that he was in a month ago.
With everyone we put him against, that's who.
And it's like, okay, he's been in this meaningless feud with freaking Team Taz for like 2.
Whatever, you're a bot.
Okay. I know you're trying to be Tony Khan, but that's just.
And it looks like Swerve is going to turn on him.
Look, and another thing too, it's just like they bring in these guys in. It's one of those things. This is the big problem that I have with AEW is that they expect people to know who these guys are, And I guess that's what they're trying to do.
Know who my guys are. They're big stars. They came from WWE. How do you not know who Keith Lee is?
Okay, and here's the thing. When Keith Lee, this is also the same problem when he was in WWE too. It's like, okay, he's a great athlete, but nothing else. Like, where do you go from here? He's not that great on the microphone. In fact, they made fun of him on the microphone. Literally the first 2 weeks on AEW. Greetings and salutations. When
No,
Ricky
they
Starks
didn't.
made that.
They were cheering him.
They cheered him in the first night, and look where he is now. And I get it. I'm willing to give some time with Keith Lee because he's only been there for 2 months. I'm willing to be fair. But it's not like right now, it's not like he's really doing anything that great. Just like with Andrade, just like with Malachi Black, just like a lot of these guys. You know,
a lot of big names that are going to draw us money for years to come. They're great wrestlers. We're going to be the next WCW. We don't plan to compete with WWE. We want to stay on Wednesdays and Wednesdays nights so we can give fans a nice alternative. And on top of that, we don't plan to be like WCW. We plan on being better. And you gotta understand that.
All I'm saying is that fans have to be fair in this. If y'all complain about WWE when they bring up people from NXT to Raw and SmackDown and they don't have any plans for them, and you get mad about that, which that's understandable.
We do also have plans
you
for
also
our company.
you know, okay, listen. If you're gonna criticize about that, which is fair, you also have to criticize Tony Khan for signing these guys and not having much of a plan for them too.
You can't criticize me, okay? I've done great with this company. Look, I put this company in the spot that it's in.
Hold on, let him finish his point for a minute. Hold on.
I know you're trying to do a bit heel, but come on, it's not getting over, my guy. Like half of the AEW roster, but anyways.
My guys are getting over, okay? They
By
are
who?
doing their best work right now on AEW Dynamite and Rampage every week.
Yes, because everybody who's on AEW is actually a lot more special than
Look at the talent that's gotten over just because of my booking and my money. Like MJF, for example, Darby Allin, Keith Lee, Malachi Black. You know, CM Punk has revitalized his career in my company. Then you got Sting, who he turned around his career.
Well, speaking about that, you saw that they finally. I know you guys mentioned it. And did you know the reason why Hangman Page was not at the taping of Dynamite to have that confrontation with CM Punk, and they went to a video instead?
The best champion in wrestling right now.
He has COVID. He had COVID.
Oh, that sucks.
He had COVID. He wasn't available. Tested negative or whatever, positive, and he couldn't be there. Positive. So that's why they did a video tribute to it, not that face to face, drama. But they will. All signal points that they will be fighting at Double or Nothing,
which is official.
It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see if they, both are babyface going at it. I think that's the first time AEW is gonna have really two baby faces really going at it. Unless if they have an interference or make it a triple. I wouldn't surprise me if somehow, some way, there's so much time left for a triple threat match.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I think for now they're going to do the babyface versus babyface thing, and I think eventually, and here's my thing, I predict Hangman may end up going heel, and I think it'll be one of those situations where he will turn heel because he feels that CM Punk is overshadowing him, right, and the fans are, more behind Punk, the old-timer, and it's basically just out of jealousy, and I think maybe that might be a story that they can tell down the road, which I'm cool with, right? But we'll just have to wait and see where it goes.
I think it's gonna go triple threat because I don't see CM Punk going more than 15 minutes. Cannot keep up with a Page in a 15-minute fight. His fight's got to be 10 minutes, short, sweet. I don't think he has a.
But who would he put? But who would he put in there in this match as a third person?
You're gonna have to probably, you could actually throw in Kenny Omega. I don't know, if he's healthy. I don't think he's healthy though, you need a freaking heel in there that just he doesn't have a chance, but he's in there,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like who's number 2 in the rankings right now?
In my opinion, the second best wrestler in AEW is You can make a case.
MJF, but he's not going to do that.
No,
Yeah.
MJF's to me is the best. The second best is arguably.
No, I'm
Darby
talking
Allin.
about the rankings that they do on AEW right now. That's
Well,
what
I
I'm
don't pay.
going.
You know what? I'm gonna be totally honest. I do watch AW a lot, but those ranking system, I don't pay mind to that because that's like, come on, this is wrestling scripted. Come on, this is not This is not UFC. For a person who covers UFC, Bellator, and all the and boxing, I am not gonna go. Spend
Well,
my time
if
with that.
AEW is gonna do
But,
like UFC type of stuff, then where's Chef Dan?
Yeah,
but the
no,
thing-
we're not gonna bother. We're not. Yeah.
But anywho, I think we talked a little bit way too much on AEW. Let's get on with the some Raw business.
You mean that WWE, that stuff?
Yeah, I guess we could talk a little bit about Raw this week.
Raw had a celebration, 20-year anniversary for a particular wrestler. It was
Yes,
nice
sir.
to see the way they started off the event. Every member of the roster out there, even Veer Mahan was there.
Yeah, they were. A lot of people. Everybody was there. You know. Yeah, I mean, look. They did the Randy Orton segment. They did the Randy Orton celebration thing, which led to they brought out Cody and then Seth came in, and this whole thing led into an 8-man tag in the main event.
Yeah, it was the best promo in a long time by the WWE to open up a program. You know, you bring Riddle out there, you know, and he calls out and starts talking about Randy Orton and the love that he has for him and so forth. And then Ryan Orton comes out and then he says he has a surprise. And then that surprise was Cody. And not only that, the crowd is already hot and over with the Riddle. And then you bring Cody out there and former Legacy, you know, and Staple. And then what's your thoughts? I love this. I want to hear your thoughts, MK. What's your thought when all of a sudden you get an interruption and a guy introduces himself? Hey, I'm Ezekiel. For those who don't meet, you know, what do you thought on that?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, man. This whole Ezekiel thing it's just making me laugh so hard. I didn't think this was gonna be something that's gonna be like entertaining past like week 2, but bro, this thing is catching on.
They're hitting it out of the park with that, Ezekiel. What's your thoughts, Theo?
First off, congratulations to Randy Orton because it's hard to say 20 years anywhere. And also the thing about Cody is, and I think this goes for not only WWE but also real life sports. You know, when you can just tell when an athlete just belongs somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I hate to involve real life sports, so I'm gonna use an example.
You're talking about Cody or you're talking about Ezekiel?
Cody.
Like
and just because it's mainly like a Yankees program, I'm gonna try to use like a Yankee like comparison. Let's see what's a good one I can use for you guys. I guess I'm trying to think of like a Yankee great that. Okay, you know what? I'll just use this and I'll just
Heal.
I thought of one already. Okay.
No, before you make that, you do realize the question was, what do you thought about Ezekiel, my guy? I think we need to put this guy on the list.
That's right. You know, with it.
Exactly. But anyway, Cody Rhodes is not the Babe Ruth of wrestling, but I'm just saying it's like Babe Ruth when he went to the Braves. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay. You know what, Heel?
What?
Chip, you know what? You just made the list. Oh no! Oh, here we go.
My man's been on the list, and we told you to be quiet, my guy. Man's asked you, "What's your thoughts on Ezekiel?" And this guy went on a diatribe for 5 minutes.
But you know what I mean. Some performers just belong somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like
I get that. But what's your thoughts on Ezekiel?
And Ezekiel's funny, man. He's growing on me too, man. He'll never top Kafunaki though.
Oh my God. No wonder these shows go for like 4 hours, my guy. But anyways,
Kafunagi
All right,
should be
listen.
world champion.
Listen, the whole bit with Ezekiel introducing himself, getting over, they taking that to that. They making it work. They just brought that to another level of making it work. And then of course you get interrupted with when he says, "Hey, I'm Ezekiel," and introducing himself. All of a sudden, you see Kevin Owens. No, it's not. And it was a funny opening segment. And then of course you see when the general manager comes out and says, "You know what? We're gonna make a classic 8-man tag." You know, and that was fun just to see that they are going to make that.
yeah.
And it was like, wow, and what a way of pop and what a way of opening up Monday Night Raw with that 20-year anniversary, all the wrestlers in there, a tribute, and then that whole promo to close it out. I was excited. I mean, what a way to start. That's catch. You got me hooked to. I want to watch this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, someone just got done watching that Titanic.
Who got who?
Hey, Jedi over there crying up a storm. You know?
Oh no! I got
He was reminiscing about that one segment a few weeks ago with the wedding segment on Raw.
Yeah.
No, I'm just crying because it was how bad. I asked a question about Ezekiel. And I got 20 minutes of the Babe Ruth of wrestling.
I said he's not the Babe Ruth of wrestling, but the only
Wow.
Yankee comparison I can think of, at least as far as like where a guy belongs in the Yankee uniform, is Babe Ruth. Like, because let's be honest, nobody can picture Babe Ruth playing for any other team, not even the Red Sox. You only picture him in the Yankee uni.
Anytime heel goes on a diatribe, we should just put this guy on the list.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's your 5-minute diatribe with heel.
Do I look like I diet?
Oh, what? You know what? Just put this guy on the list, man. See, this guy. Just put this guy on the list. My God.
Well, then we see a title match. We finally get the Sonya Deville, Bianca Belair women's title. As we move on, because come on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a sponsor yet, but we need a sponsor. NJ Diets, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We'll take Spanish sponsors too.
What's my thoughts on the
what's your
women's
thoughts on the
title
fight?
match?
Yes.
Oh, what's my thoughts? Oh, are you me or are you heel?
I'm hoping it's you because he was on a.
Oh, because it was kind of glitchy. No, it was kind of glitchy from my end. I was wondering. I was like, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, the match was cool. It was cool, I guess. I was kind of surprised that they did this match here. I thought they were gonna wait for the pay-per-view, but it was good for what it was, So I can't really complain about the match.
It was a good, solid match. You see of course, more interference from Carmella and Zelina Vega, so forth. They're gonna continue that feud. I don't know what I don't know what Bianca needs to do here. Does she need a special guest referee? Who knows what? Because you see her interfering, Sonya Deville changing it if it's not at a count out or changing the rules of the fight over and over. So I don't know. That's interesting to see with that feud. Where is it going with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm not really interested in this whole thing because it's Becky, and so we all know Becky's gonna win.
What do you mean, Becky? We're talking about Bianca, my guy.
Are you okay? No, seriously.
Yo, this guy's drunk.
I'm okay. Bianca's doing what now?
Oh God.
No, we'll move on. We'll move on. Bianca Belair. We'll check out that. We did see the return of a prominent diva.
I did see her backstage with Kane.
You saw Becky Lynch return back from a couple of weeks off from Raw. She thought she was felt down on herself. Lost. Being without the world title, her character flaw, but then she started getting. Wait a minute, I can only rise from being so low, from being down. I can only go up, and you saw her, talking a little smack, and out of nowhere, over 200 and plus days not seen on the WWE circuit, the return of the last Empress, Asuka. What's your thoughts on her finally returning back to Raw?
Ah man, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. Glad to see Asuka back. Finally some life into the division. And you know what they say, man. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I'm glad to see Asuka back. And this feud can actually be pretty cool between the two. And if they have a little bit of a personal feud, even going back to their title matches from a couple of years ago, I feel like there's a lot of history with this feud, and I think it could be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to what they do with these two.
Yeah, especially remember Becky, when she became pregnant, she handed the belt over to Asuka. So they could build that on that feud and say, you never beat me to win that women's title. I gave it to you because of circumstances. Now we're gonna fight. We're gonna set up this feud because you never pinned me, and I'm gonna show that even if I had the belt, you were never going to beat me. And they could play off that angle. What's your thoughts, Gil? Do you know who these ladies are, by the way?
No, I do. Yeah, I do. I do. Asuka's actually my favorite female wrestler right now, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's why I got a little detached from the women's division just a little bit, because as much as I like the other female wrestlers, they're kind of just okay with me. But Asuka, I don't know why, she feels like a big deal no matter what she does. And granted, I'm a little bit guilty. I got a thing for Asians. So that goes for any Asian anything, rather it's video games or whatever. So
Hio has yellow fever.
Yeah, you can say that. I just like Asian culture, rather it's things about samurai, anime, whatever. I'm one of those people. Make fun of me, I don't care. But
wow.
So yeah, so when I saw this is gonna be a potential match, whatever, I was like, I'm down. This is awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we see that return of Asuka. Hopefully she could start and have that feud with Becky Lynch. That'd be interesting to see that feud there. I am not gonna talk about the most point. I don't know what they're doing with the whole Reggie, Dana Brooks, Tamia.
Let's just kind of skip. Let's just kind of skip to the filler.
That's the worst. That's the worst segment. I don't know what in the world they're doing with it. They're pushing on what the heck they're doing. It's just a bad reputation. Just kill that storyline there.
So just to save a little bit of time, there's only two other key things that happen on Raw, which was the Miz TV segment with Theory and the returning Mustafa Ali, and so I guess that and the 8-man tag, which we kind of discussed a little bit on that. So I guess
Randy Orton.
We're missing the Finn Balor and Damian Priest fight.
That one too. So yes,
Finn Balor has been relevant, and I don't know how long.
Here's the thing with since he brought up Finn, I guess these are the only two noteworthy things that happened on Raw, which was the Finn Balor, Damian Priest stuff, and the Mustafa Ali return. So the Finn Balor match with Damian Priest, I thought it was a good match. One thing I noticed about what they said on commentary, which I actually like that they mentioned, was they mentioned about Finn's recent losing streak,
Yes.
Which whenever a wrestler tends to go on a losing streak and they mention it in storyline, usually it's always led to something bigger. Either they have a redemption story or they turn heel,
Right.
I got a question.
And
Go ahead,
I think this could either lead to Finn teaming with AJ to go up against Edge and Priest down the line, or Finn going heel and aligning himself with Edge and Priest, which I would be for.
Yeah, I think so too, MK. With that, you hit that nail. nailed it perfectly there. You know, they remember he has that also that demon persona that he does, Finn Balor, so forth. And does he want to put all that makeup again? All that, you know, it's a lot of makeup to wrestle. It's difficult to see, but you made a great point with that. That with Finn Balor, because he's not gonna. They want to also get him over, especially since they have a big show coming up in England. And they want to get there. They want to align their talents, their English talent, to have some draw pop. That's why we'll talk about what happened in SmackDown coming up. And I know he's not English, but he's from that region of the world.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give too much
Scotland.
spoilers. Yeah, but I gave you too much spoilers.
Wait, Scotland's Drew McIntyre. We're talking about Finn Balor. He's from Ireland.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's okay. All right.
See,
This guy can't get social. This guy can't get social.
I didn't want to change the spoiler, but the spoiler's out. We were gonna, when we talked about SmackDown, we're gonna talk about Drew McIntyre.
But I agree. They could. Here's the thing. I hope they, and I know with these recent cuts, I really hope they, with these recent cuts, I really hope they don't cut Finn. But. Yeah.
This guy, I swear. I'm not gonna. This gonna be called the Hammer Nagger show. I'm gonna call you guys the Hammer Naggers. Wrestling Hammer Naggers.
I'm sorry. I'm
But
pretty bad at hiding spoilers. Like, I remember I spoiled the fight for. He was like, "I'm gonna go watch the first fight. Don't tell me it wins." I'm like,
okay, yeah. So what was I saying was, what I was saying was, is like, I don't. Damn.
Now he lost his train of thought. Oh my god.
Yes, I remember what I'm saying. I'm just waiting for freaking heel to stop belly laughing.
By the way, if you watch this, I'm sorry, Pope. I only heard halfway.
See, this is why we're gonna get negative 5-star reviews, man, because of you. No, but the only thing I really hope they don't do, because with these recent releases, right? I really hope they don't think about releasing Finn. I know which I hope they don't. But the thing is, you mentioned a good point with them doing the show in Cardiff, and I think Finn is one of those guys that still, despite him losing a lot recently, he's still one of the more over guys on the roster, and people still like him. They still kind of buy his merch, so I guess he's still a valuable asset for that company, and I think. If he does align himself with Edge, or let's say they do a little bit of thing with AJ, I think that could be really cool for him. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
that could be cool.
Exactly with that. You know what I found a little bit interesting before we get to the main event? The United States champion was not defended. Although he was there, but did not defend. It's interesting. I thought they were going to show more announcements with the titles unified. I thought that'll be an emphasis, but good way of not emphasizing it anyway, because we're gonna get into the 8-man tag of the night.
Did you talk about the Mustafa Ali return though?
Oh, great segment. You saw Mustafa Ali returning in the Miz promo, and what a job. I like that he came out and they actually, with Theory, we were talking about Theory, but he didn't defend it. Theory and I love the way Theory just turned it on and turned the tables on Miz. He out-Miz'd him. Said, "Yeah, you know what? I called Mr. McMahon and I put you in a match." That was hilarious. What you thought? I love that whole segment. That was actually a fun segment.
Yeah, Miz can get anything over again.
I you know what? First off, Mustafa Ali coming back was cool. Even though I've kind of haven't really been too interested in what he's been doing over the last little while. At least him coming back as a babyface is a right move, because I didn't think him going as a heel for the longest time didn't work for him. So him coming back as a babyface works. And if he's gonna potentially be a guy to face Theory for the US title, that's cool. And especially what that happened after the match with Ciampa freaking attacking him. Again, I feel like Raw right now, and I think this is why I feel like Raw is doing better than SmackDown right now, is I feel like a lot of people on the show has a storyline. Like everybody has something to do on that show. Like Edge and Priest is feuding with AJ. Finn can get into it. Cody has a feud with Seth. RK Bro has a feud. Lashley has a feud. Miz is kind of in this in between with Theory, and like a lot of people have stories right now. Even Chad Gable and Otis has a little thing going with Zeke.
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like I like the fact that almost everybody, even the 24/7 thing, everybody has like a storyline on the show, and I feel like the U.S. title picture right now is kind of looking good right now, because you got Theory, you got Ali, you got Ciampa, you got Balor, you got Priest, you got Miz, right? Like that's a really good mid card division right there,
I know.
And I really and I like that. I like when you have like a really good secondary title division with those guys, and yeah, I thought the segment was pretty good, and I thought the match between Miz and Ali was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was good. The match was good between them. Solid match between both of them. It was a really good, solid match. And of course they made fun out of him of taking his ball and going home, because he did complain. Mustafa Ali did complain a lot on Twitter and was asking for his release and did not get his release. Now you saw him wrestling I think everyone thought that he was going to end up in AEW. AEW had a lot of interest in him, and he was going to be the one, like, supposedly going to IT tech with the bots. They were talking about a storyline with him with that.
Yeah,
and it
you know
didn't
what?
happen.
And you know what? If they're gonna use him, since he is still, and look, anything can happen. They could, you don't know about this company. It's like they can just release the guy tomorrow. But at
Right.
least for now, it's like, he's still. I think his contract is not up until like 2024. So you know what? And also at the same time too, with Mustafa Ali, and especially with his background as well, and him being, a guy that's kind of well liked in the locker room as well. I think that's a bit of an asset for that company too. So it's like, especially with these days with WWE and their whole diversity thing, they kind of want people with different backgrounds and ethnic groups to be on the show. So that's why they're willing
yeah.
to keep. That's why they're willing to keep, like, people like that's why I would say they're willing to keep a guy like Nakamura or Asuka, because they feel like, hey, if they go to Japan, these are two big stars, we can go over there. Or they keep Jinder because, hey, we got a market for India. Even Mustafa Ali is half Indian, half Pakistani, right? So it's like, plus
He had
also.
he had a huge pop in Saudi Arabia. The shows in Saudi Arabia, I think the first year, Mustafa.
Oh yeah,
Ali,
that was
yeah.
Mansoor is still in the company because he's from Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes.
All right. So and not to mention, it's like, okay, you got Sammy and you got and Mustafa Ali, who's also Muslim as well. So that's another thing too. So it's like they want a diverse, well group of people. That's why they're willing to release a bunch of white guys on the roster and be like, okay, we got enough of you guys right now.
No, and
But
then
yeah.
you see that diversity even with the women's. You saw Renee Rodriguez now. Formerly Raquel. But that was Dakota's tag team partner. They brought her up to the main roster. Now she's getting over. You've seen a few of the ladies that fought with Charlotte in SmackDown and Rousey. They were both Latin ladies, so there is a immense diversity in WWE with their talent, with the different champions and performers.
Yeah, especially like if you look at the company now, then let's say what it was maybe a decade ago. It's like, damn, it's a lot more diverse in terms of like skin color, nationality, etc. And that's pretty cool. Especially now, a lot of them are kind of featured in the upper spots on the card too. So that's pretty cool to see. You know what I mean? It's like it's like I always feel like it's always good to have diversity on the roster, but not as a way to just like force feed it. You know what I mean? But it's like here in this case, it's like you got a set of people on a set of different people on the show, which is pretty cool.
That's really good about that. So that 8-man tag was phenomenal. I love that fight. You saw the way they set up all the endings and all the for Randy Orton to give everyone on RKO, and especially that RKO off of Jimmy Uso from the top ropes. That was phenomenal. Flying. All in all, it got you excited.
Yeah, it was actually a really fun 8-man tag, and I like the idea of them just throwing everybody to Randy Orton doing the RKO's and stuff, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a fun 8-man tag. You know, sometimes these 8-man tag main events can just be whatever, but when they do it right, it can just be a really fun main event for the show.
And you
Let
can
me ask
tell.
you this. No, I'm
You,
sorry.
can-
Okay,
you can tell Randy Orton too right now is just having arguably the most fun of his career right now.
Oh yeah.
yeah, you mentioned that last time. Let me ask you this. Comparison, and try not to be tribal. That 10-man tag with Adam Cole, Red Dragons, and the young clowns versus that match versus the 8-man tag that we saw on Raw. Which one looked much more fun?
Well-
Looks more exciting, more pop.
Well, obviously the 8-man tag, because I feel like the 10-man tag was just to design how dominant the Undisputed Elite were, you know. So it's kind of like there's two main objectives with both of those matches.
I
You know,
think it depends on the type of fan you are. Like if you're
agree with
if you're the WWE elitist, so to speak, and you're just out there to see fun, then of course you're gonna like Randy Orton's like, because you're just like, yeah, it's like our guy just delivering RKO's and having fun, because you know that's just what people want to see. But if you're like, yeah, I want to see a straight up wrestling match, you know, then obviously you're gonna pick the other one with the. I just call him Generation Me.
I don't even think it has to be like a tribalist. I don't even think it has to be that. It's just like, for me, I look at it as, like, if I'm being fair, it's like two matches had two different objectives. One was essentially kind of, from what I saw, felt like more of a squash, so to speak.
Yeah,
Just,
you're right.
And the other was more so just a way to just, hey, it's Randy Orton's 20th anniversary. Let's have a bunch of RKO, and also they're trying to build a little bit of stories with each individual stories. So it's like, that's the thing. It's like one match was more so to build the faction of Undisputed Elite. The other was to enhance, or at least for certain stories, with, you know, KO and Zeke and Rollins and Cody and Usos and RK Bro, with a little bit of like the RKO fest in the end. So it is what it is, you know. Obviously the match in of itself, of course the 8-man tag was better, but it's like at the same time it's kind of hard to compare, you know. Again, this is a show that we were actually being objectively fair. You know, we're not all AEW bashing here.
That's not true. You're not.
Well, for you. Fair. Well, for you are, because we all know you're wearing you know, low key heel is probably a Cult of Cornette kind of guy.
Cult of Cornette? What is no? I haven't seen anything about Jim Cornette in I don't know how long. I'll be honest with you.
Probably. Anyway, so that I guess that was Raw, and then we can get to the SmackDown. Which I guess the biggest story coming out of SmackDown is that they changed the supposedly the. I don't know if they are going to go with the. We have to see where they go with the next week or so. But as of now, they went from the tag team unification match to now being a 6-man tag.
They changed their mind. We don't know if that's official. Oh, I don't know what. We don't.
Which look, I will say this: could they make it a winner take all unification within the next week? Sure. But here's my whole thing about this. First off, I didn't like the idea of them doing a unification to begin with, so I'm okay with it. But at the same time, it's a waste of time that they went through 3 weeks of building this, only for them to not do the match, which is kind of stupid. It was really stupid if you ask me.
Either that or Teddy Long got to hold the booking.
Well, it was already a tag match to begin with, so.
Well, Teddy Long probably wasn't satisfied. So he's like, I want more.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things where it's like they didn't have a set opponent for Roman, right? And they needed to put him on the show, right? Which, look, I'm fine with the 6-man tag. Don't get me wrong, right? And especially if this is gonna lead to Drew and Roman feuding for the next few months, I'm cool with that. Because as we mentioned before, they're doing a pay-per-view called Clash at the Castles on September 3rd in Cardiff.
Castles.
Yep, they're doing that
That
at
sounds like a game. Like I would download on my phone.
Sure, but anyway, so they're doing that pay-per-view in September, and I'm guessing that's gonna be where they're gonna culminate the feud there between Roman and Drew. And I guess this is a way for them to start the feud without having to have them face each other this soon, you know, which makes sense. I mean, that you want to build this, you want this to.
So don't you think it spoils? Sorry to interrupt, but do you think it spoils it then that Drew's probably gonna pin one of the Usos or something like that?
It's possible they can have Drew maybe pinning one of the Usos, and then this leads to Drew being in title contention, maybe up the upcoming maybe Money in the Bank pay-per-view in July or something, or it's just a way for Roman to maybe pin one of the either not probably Riddle, right? And maybe this may lead to, and this is what I'm thinking. I feel like with Roman holding 2 titles, he has to kind of feud with different people along with Drew McIntyre. So what I think they're going to do is on SmackDown, Roman's going to feud with Drew, but on Raw, Roman's going to feud with someone else. And I think in the interim, my guess he's going to probably feud with Randy Orton, right? Where they can do a scenario where, let's say, the Bloodline wins at Backlash, but then after the match, they beat the crap out of Riddle, right? And Orton, since they're friends, they'll be like, you know what? I'm going to avenge my friend, and I'm going to go after Roman Reigns for the title, you know? Just like since now he's the undisputed champion, he gets to work both shows where they could do the thing where Roman's feuding with Drew on SmackDown, but then he's feuding with Orton on Raw. You know what I mean? Yeah, that sort of thing.
And you know what, MK? I think we both know who's going to actually take the titles off of Roman. And it's none other than Wrestling Hall of Famer Jimmy King.
Okay, enough of you with the Ready to Rumble references. Okay.
Here's what I'm thinking. That triple threat match. Yeah, you're right. Everything you said, I could see that, but I could see that the one that's gonna get the pin. They're gonna pin Roman Reigns. It's gonna be Randy Orton.
Cody. I think you mean the tag match?
Yeah, and that triple threat because that's where you could say, well, I have an unbeaten streak. Yeah,
I don't see Roman getting pinned in the tag match though, because
he will because that's a way of him getting pinned without losing the belts
in a cheap way, maybe like by distraction.
That's right. But now you remember, like you said, it makes sense where you have a one feud with Randy Orton.
I disagree.
One feud with Drew McIntyre. Now it leads into a triple threat match in Nashville.
Well, I wasn't mentioned, but
here's how it can happen. Sorry, I'm responding to Jedi real quick. Here's how it can happen, because obviously Drew's move is a Claymore. Something happens outside, and then Roman tries to help them, but then right when he comes in, Claymore to Roman, Drew gets a 1, 2, 3. I guess that can happen, and I will be okay with that. But then you're automatically setting Drew up for failure at the Clash of the Castle.
But the thing is, my whole idea wasn't so much of a triple threat. It would have been like this, where, let's say the following paper, I think it's Hell in a Cell, I think, right? Which is in June. The way I would have it be, or I think the way they might go is they have, let's say, Roman wins, but he pins Riddle, right? Because with Riddle, he's probably the least, like, out of all the guys, if the heels are gonna win, it makes sense for Roman to not pin Drew or Orton. And the way you have it be is like after the match, you have Roman beating the crap out of Riddle. Orton gets revenge for Roman. So the next pay-per-view, the main event is Orton versus Reigns. But meanwhile, you don't do a triple threat. You actually have Roman feud with Drew on SmackDown. But Drew kind of works his way up. Let's say he spends, the next maybe month or so feuding with the Usos and beating the crap out of them, before getting to Roman. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to do Roman and Drew like at the next pay-per-view. You want to do a slow build. You know what I mean? So Drew would have to go through the right-hand man, Jey Uso, and then he would have to go through Jimmy, and then he has to go through Roman. And in the meantime, Roman can feud with people on Raw like Randy Orton, maybe an AJ Styles, maybe Bobby Lashley, right? So that way, it's like Roman's occupied with other things while still feuding with Drew. You know what I mean? So that way, Raw has something to fight for, while SmackDown still has a main event storyline with Drew and Roman without having to do like 5 pay-per-view matches between the two. You know what I'm saying? So they could go with a triple threat route. That's not a bad thing, but I also think you don't want to get to the scenario where it feels like Roman and Drew in every single pay-per-view main event, you know, and you don't want people to get soured on that too. You do maybe one match, like let's say Money in the Bank, Drew versus Roman, and then let's say Drew loses because the Usos interfered, right? You could do that, but then you save it for the UK pay-per-view. But it's like you got so many different things. I think the problem is like, this is why I feel like them unifying the titles to begin with kind of puts them in these weird situations.
I don't think this really has that big of a situation in this match. But I will say this though: if Roman does pin Riddle, the first thing that's gonna pop in my mind is, bro, that is so not cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it should lead to something bigger because Roman is gonna be holding both titles, and I think he wants to at least beat a couple more former world champions. And Randy Orton's kind of that legend, so to speak, where he can add another legend to that list of people that Roman defeats. You know, so it's like, okay, he beat Edge, he beat Brock, he beat John Cena. Randy Orton, low-key, is that guy that he can face at the next pay-per-view or so. It's possible. He needs some big names, right? Randy is that guy.
I mean,
you know?
Roman doesn't need to have any more big names. Like, he's already like.
No, I'm not saying he needs them to get him over, but I'm talking about he's adding them into his.
Oh
like,
yeah,
for example,
I mean, you can do that. You can. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying like the good part about the situation that Roman's in is that you don't have to worry about him pinning anyone in the situation or anything like that. Like, Roman is built for like the rest of his career.
I'm not saying it's for him to. I'm not saying for him he needs to be built up. I'm just saying, like, when you look at all the challengers that he beats, right? He has this legendary list. So it's like, if you look at his record right now, he beat guys like Edge, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, right? He's had, and then you add Randy Orton to that list. That's another former world champion, future Hall of Fame.
Let me rephrase that. Like, yes, beating Orton would absolutely be cool, and be cool to add to the name that Roman's like pin as a legend.
Mm-hmm.
But however, I'll be honest with you, even though yes would make the main event at Clash of the Castles really predictable, I think the right move here to do is simply have Roman get distracted and then Drew McIntyre win by the Claymore.
But I wouldn't have Roman get pinned though. If anything, if let's say the baby faces would win, I would have he pin one of the Usos to do so. You know?
Yeah, but then like,
because then it's like, okay, pin one of the Usos. It's like, hey, I beat one of your guys. So that's like the first step to him going after
you can do
the
that
championship.
too,
You know, sure. It's a slow
burn. Can we both agree Drew should get the win either way?
Yeah, of course, that's the end goal. But it's like it's not.
He's not gonna be Roman Reigns for that belt.
All right.
I hope not.
If it's an Uso,
I'm not a fan of Drew.
You don't
I'll be honest with you. I'm not that big a fan of Drew either.
He's boring.
Yeah, he really is.
Oh no!
I stopped watching WWE the first time when they were in the Thunderdome. When he first got the belt, I said that's why I stepped away from wrestling.
Kev, can we both agree the most entertaining Drew's ever been was when he was in 3DB?
Okay, relax.
You're not gonna find me to say anything positive. I don't like Drew.
You didn't even like 3DB? What's wrong with you?
He was boring.
Anyway,
not my cup of coffee. Not my cup of coffee.
Alright. It's funny, I'm like the only Drew fan here, so to that I say you guys can go. No, I'm not gonna say it now.
You know what you can do with that sword? You can turn it up sideways. Shine it up real nice. Turn it up sideways.
Well, are you gonna continue the thing? Wow.
Nah, I'll leave it alone.
Anyway,
kids are watching.
The only thing is, I think that's the only big thing that came out of SmackDown was because of
since we're talking about Drew, I don't think the cage match was funny. It was funny. It was entertaining with Sammy. It was fun. We knew he wasn't gonna win. We knew he was gonna get his butt kicked Although Sami Zayn did not do one wrestling move at all, just maybe a couple kicks other than that, or maybe but
the cage match was
You know what?
cool.
I got a
for what it
hot
was.
take right now, and this is gonna surprise MK. 'Cause
Okay.
he knows how much I used to hate this guy. Right now, Sami Zayn is better than Drew McIntyre.
Well, gimmick wise,
Character wise, sure. Character
Well,
wise,
when it
sure.
comes to wrestling, obviously, I'd rather be entertained rather than like have a good wrestling match. So yeah,
I could see that point.
Sami Zayn to me is better than Drew McIntyre.
I wouldn't really disagree with you because I'm a big fan of Sammy too. I'm a big fan of both guys, to be honest with you. But I think
At WrestleMania, I was more entertained by Sami Zayn in general. And then Drew McIntyre started wrestling, and I was like,
that's literally like everybody, my guy.
I'm gonna give you that to you because you asked me right now, and we did the watch along. I did the watch along, and I was there. I don't remember who the hell Drew McIntyre fought.
Oh, he fought the most vicious guy named Happy Corbin.
I look at that. Okay, I had no idea. I don't remember who he fought. And
Yeah,
but Sami Zayn, he lost to the Jackasses.
yeah, Johnny Knoxville and the whole entire crew. Yeah.
Dude, I gotta go watch that. I gotta go watch that match back. That match was one of the most entertaining matches I've ever watched.
That's my point when it comes to both of them.
Sammy has a character and he can wrestle. Drew McIntyre doesn't have a character. He's just a guy that can wrestle.
I mean, to be fair, compared to what he was, I remember when he was doing the heel shtick like a few years ago. But
oh well, we'll see what they're gonna do on Raw. If it is gonna be, I'm confused. Instead of having more questions, I feel more confused when it comes to the tag team. If they're gonna be unified or not gonna be unified, I'm very confused with it. So it is what it is with that. We'll find out on Monday Night Raw more clarity. What you guys thought about?
Kev, you can beat Roman. We all know you can.
Beat Roman Reigns?
Yeah, you can get the titles off of Roman.
Wow, man. Oof, that'd be a tough one. That'd be a tough one there. Bloodline. It has to be big. It has to be as big as a WrestleMania, though. The world ain't ready for it until we get into a WrestleMania. Yeah. But what's your thoughts on the Charlotte? I actually like what's going on with Rousey and Charlotte, even though they're doing this over and over. It seems kind of a little bit redundant. I like the beat the clock match and the way they closed it out. It was pretty cool. I like the fact that she beat up the stupid timekeeper.
Honestly, it was kind of like
this feud is a channel changer for me. I'm not even gonna lie. I like both of them, but I like both of them, but it's like this whole feud is just a channel changer for me. I don't know, just there's nothing there to be really to intrigue me.
I'll just say this for now. And I think Chase said it best when he was on the show. You think these two women would actually have a great feud together, but really, for some reason, they just don't mix.
Yeah, because they're trying to make Rousey a baby face, right? Against someone who everybody already hates.
She doesn't work as a baby face. Rousey has to be the mean. She gotta have and she's French, but she has to have the bitter bitch face.
Yeah, and what kills her is the promos. I feel like if they didn't have her talk, I think if anything, it would have worked a little bit.
You know how bad this feud has been, low key. You know how bad this feud has been. I was more invested into Aaliyah versus Charlotte than I have been into any of their matches or spots with Rousey and Charlotte. Because Aaliyah was such an underdog. I was like, come on, Aaliyah. And then when she won, I was like, yay!
Honestly, one thing they need to do with Charlotte, honestly, is to take her out of the title picture.
She didn't really win.
Wrong. She's got no front and front. She's got the over. She's got the moxie and she's got the flair. No pun intended. To carry that.
MK, I agree with Jed. I hear she's got everything. She's just in the wrong feud.
I feel like this is kind of the issue with Charlotte. It's like I feel like she could benefit not being in the title picture for at least a year, because I feel like things are just
go around and do mid card. No,
I'm not saying in the mid card. I'm just like, hear me out with this. she's how many times she's held the belt? Like 13 times now, right?
She's gonna break her
I
dad's
feel
record.
I feel like if anything, because I feel like at this point people are kind of already bored with Charlotte. She feels very overexposed in terms of being in the title picture. I think if anything, this is what I would actually do. And this may sound a little bit unorthodox, but hear me out. Put Charlotte Flair in a tag team. Hear me out on this one. Have her work with someone, a younger female on the roster, and have them
I know
develop,
what
have
to
them
do.
pull in a way, have her do what they're doing with Randy Orton right now
No.
with
Hold on.
Riddle,
No. Hold on.
where no wait, hear me out.
No.
Where
I'm with
it's
you. I want to pitch an idea to you, and I want to see what you think about it. That's why I kept.
okay. Before you do it,
Why not have Charlotte start like the new women's like evolution type of deal, like her dad?
oh, you mean okay?
like
But you
women's
could do
evolution?
That's
you
what
could
I
do
was
that.
hoping to do like a 4 horsemen, like 4 horse ladies.
Yeah, that's why I
You-
kept trying to talk to you. They go ahead, MK.
But yes, you can do that, or you can have it be in a tag team where you have them. Let's say Charlotte. Let's say I don't know who would you put in that scenario? Maybe an Aaliyah or something where, or let's say a babyface where it's like, hey, they become a tag team, so to speak. They try to get Charlotte's respect, and they become a tag team, and they go a long run for a while, but eventually, this leads to them breaking up. And this ultimately, the job is to Charlotte to put over the next, baby face, for her. You know
can
what I
do it
mean?
right now in the
She's
story.
not old yet, though. That's when.
No. It's not saying
When
it's
she's,
old.
when
Because,
she's done, when you put her in a tag team, that means because she's done, she can't compete in.
no,
singles, and you
not
gotta take
not
advantage of Charlotte at the top of her pinnacle. She's
not necessarily, because here's the thing, and I get what you mean, but you don't have to necessarily. I get what you mean by that, but at the same time, it's like this is a way for Charlotte to still be featured heavily on the roster without having to put her in the title picture all the time, because in a way Charlotte's gonna be a big star, a main eventer regardless, right? Just like Seth Rollins, he's gonna be a main eventer regardless, whether you put him in the title picture or not. So in this case, with Charlotte kind of being, let's say, in a tag team, or let's say having her own stable, this allows her to do something fresh and people can actually get invested in, right? We've already seen her have a bunch of title matches and winning a bunch of titles. It's same song and dance for the last 6-7 years or so. I think her stepping away from the title picture, the singles title division, for a little while, and having her work with someone a little bit younger and maybe help build them up a little bit, and then eventually turning on them and then have a big feud, can actually not only help Charlotte reinvent herself a little bit and not people be bored of her, but it also can put over someone while still, in a way, it just makes Charlotte feel more fresh.
I don't know. I think you're bored with Charlotte. I'm not. I could see her wrestle
I'm
again.
not either.
I could see her come out with the robes. I could see her hold the title. I'm not bored of her. Give me more Charlotte. I'm not. I mean, maybe.
I'm not saying like you have to like not use her at all. I'm saying you can still use her as much as you can. I'm just saying not be in the women's title picture as much.
But
You know what I mean?
But then you're
That's
contradicting yourselves, because didn't you mention a couple of weeks ago you wanted wrestlers to have obstacles? Charlotte is the woman.
no that. Yeah, but at the same time, you don't also. Well, that was Weston. That was Heel's argument about that.
But you agree,
But
though.
Yeah, I agree on that, but also at the same time, I also think that things can get repetitive, things can get stale, right? And I think having Charlotte be out of the title picture, not to say, she's going to be a mid-carder. No. I'm saying treat her like the same way you're treating someone like a Randy Orton or Seth Rollins, a main event level talent, but just having her feature in other feuds and programs that don't revolve around the title. When she had, like, let's say, for example, when she had that feud with Trish Stratus a few years ago, that was kind of one of the few interesting things that she did, because she was A, not in the title picture, and B, it was kind of a dream match, so to speak. So it kind of feels a little bit fresh.
Why not just put her in a women's evolution then, but still have her be the champion?
That's another thing. You could do that. Heck, she doesn't even have to hold the title if she's in a stable. she can be a center point,
Well,
but
then
she's
what's
also
the part of the
guiding.
stable? Because you also got to
But
make sure the women's evolution is like for
but
real, like
but
legit.
you can it
That
could be one of those. But it could be one of those things where she's, let's say, the leader in all of this, but it could be one of those things where, let's say, for example, whoever's in the stable, where it could be one of those situations where the young person wins the title and she turns on them, like how Randy Orton and Triple H did back in '04, where it's like, hey, I built you up and you win the championship. Now because you win the title and you're one of my pupils, I'm gonna get jealous and I'm gonna turn on you, so to speak. Again, my whole point is like, I'm not saying you should devalue Charlotte in any way, but at the same time, it's like having her do the same old things 6-7 years straight. Like even John Cena even stepped away from the title picture every now and again. You know.
Ooh, you can
So
put Natalia in that stable with Charlotte, and then
not Natalia, not Natalia. Natalia will just
Natalia.
we got a bunch of younger. Listen, everyone knows. Listen, everyone knows. Outside of the wrestling world, who's her fiance? We all know that. We all know who's her fiance. Elito. You make a stable with some. You need an enforcer. What's her last name? Raquel, who just came up. Rachel
Rodriguez.
Bring her. That's one. You get yourself some a tag team. Find yourself a real good women's tag team. You don't have to be the tag team champions. You bring them there. You make yourself like an evolution, but 4 horsewomen. Always going in there, replicate a little bit, styling and profiling, while holding the title, while being hated. You know what they should do, kind of what's happening in AEW with Jade Cargill and the Baddies. I love that. That's what they needed to do with Charlotte Flair weeks ago. That's what they needed. They needed like a baddie with an attitude, and they got perfect people there for that too. Sasha Banks, perfect with Charlotte Flair, perfect. And you just need 2 other ladies. It would have been perfect. And now if they do that, it looks like they're copying off of Jade Cargill and the AEW. They had the opportunity. They had the women who not only could cut the promo, who could actually wrestle, who could actually deliver. And I don't know what the hell they did. They farted around with that. They messed that golden opportunity. And Charlotte would have not been boring. And according to you, I think I need to see what is boring is the feud with Rousey. Rousey, they needed her to. She needs to go and reinvent and do something different. She could benefit in a tag team, not the other way around. Because Charlotte Flair in a tag team, she can headline WrestleMania by herself.
Of course she can. Of course she can be a main event attraction. That's not the argument. I feel like it's like, if anything, sometimes it's okay for main event level attractions to step away from the title picture once in a while, because I feel like Charlotte rarely steps away from the title picture. You know what I mean? Where you don't want to get to a point where it's like, the only thing she can ever be in is only in the title picture. And if that's the case, then why she's on TV every single week? You might as well just make her a part-timer kind of thing like you do with Brock. You know what I mean?
It's gonna happen but right now there's gonna get a time where she's gonna want to be just a part-timer, wrestle from time to time, and or slow down, and it's gonna happen. All these wrestlers go through it. But what they're doing right now is striking while the iron is hot. You don't know the amount of merchandise that young fathers buy young ladies to little girls with it. Despite the fact that she's a heel, but that pizzazz, that's the reason why she's holding the belt. It's more than just pleasing us guys, or not just guys in general, older young men that want. Oh, well, it doesn't make sense. When it comes to the title and main eventers, it's a lot of things that comes with X Factor. Who moves merchandise? Who moves the eyeballs? And fathers want to bring their little daughters to go see Charlotte Flair, because she has, and that's why Bayley got over, and they put the title in. And Bayley, they turned her heel because it got stale. But Charlotte, for some reason, she just that everyone likes that heel with that the way she is, the way she flares herself, peacock.
Yeah, like bottom line is, she's right now is boring to you, and that's fine. But to other people,
But I
she's
but I will say this though. I do agree in some case, in a way where maybe Rousey could benefit from it, from doing something else besides being in the title picture too, because this feud between Rousey and Flair isn't really it. Because for me, this is one of the things. Because this is the thing is honestly, this is the big reason why SmackDown is not being a good show right now, and this is kind of it. Like I feel like the quality. Every time I watch these two feuding every single week, it brings down the quality of the show. Honestly, you know and the constant rematches of New Day and Sheamus and friends. You know.
Yeah, that's another. Glad you
and
that's boring.
And don't get me wrong, like I like New Day and Sheamus and whatnot, but it's like how many times are we gonna see this match over? And next week we're gonna get a tables match, and I'm like, okay, is this gonna be the end of the feud?
Was it call me Shaky?
Shake. I forgot what it was called, but I know what you're talking about. The only thing I care about the Sheamus thing is that you're doing the whole thing with Butch right now, which is kind of interesting. But I just like once you get past next week, I just hope they finish this feud, because I would like Sheamus and Ricochet to go face each other for the IC title or something, you know.
That's a good one, and also now you see Jinder Mahal and what's his partner? His name?
Shanky McDoodle.
Shanky McCrap. Yeah, and they're gonna split up now. Look like they're gonna be a
why are they splitting up tag teams, my guy? I don't get it. See, this is the problem.
Either. I don't know. Either.
See, this is the problem with this company. It's like they like to split, especially on SmackDown. It's like, why are they splitting up tag teams? They
need more diversification in their tag team.
I'm like, you could have just kept Jinder and Shanky as just as a mid card team. I was like, okay, and you keep Angel and Humberto as a team, and and then even like I don't care for Happy Corbin's gimmick, but it's like you could have at least. Like but the thing is, I don't really care for this feud with him and Madcap Moss right now. No, and I get there, and it's like, and it sucks because it's like I think Madcap Moss has potential, but at the same time, it's like I don't care for this feud.
His gimmick, the suspenders, and
it's like it's not working. It's not
Mr. Lumberjack.
It's like come on, like, okay, if you're gonna keep the name, at least change the entrance and the gear. Corbin needs to get out of this Happy Corbin stuff, because this is just freaking boring. And I like Corbin, but this is just not it for him. It's just this is the thing that's great. This is the thing that's actually like making SmackDown boring. The endless matches with Sheamus and New Day and
what SmackDown turned out to be is it's a freebie. What I mean freebie is on network television, over the air antennas. And it's catering for, the young kids, one. Because let's face it, little kids under the age of 10 are home. They're not going to be, either if they have parents who are going to go out Friday night, they're going to leave with a babysitter and they got free TV here. We're going to put, SmackDown to watch. All elderly folks, who are home watching wrestling, the wrestling on over the with rabbit ears to cut the cord, or, I hate to sound like that, but even in assisted living locations, they'll put the free TV over the air, Fox 5. That could, in New York, if you live in New York, or Fox 35, wherever Fox affiliated is, you get to watch it there in those. Or people that are in hospital, terminally ill for a while, and they get the TV from the hospital areas, they get the free wrestling 35. So they put something safe. Nothing too outlandish, nothing too crazy. To us, it's like, oh, we see how many times we're going to see these, and I think that's what they do. That's what SmackDown is catering, and also sponsors. Fox, they got to show to their TV network. We got something safe. It draws eyeballs, so nothing. No, you're not going to see barbed wire, blood, man, any blood, hardcore type of wrestling. You're not going to see the divas no more. You're not going to see a broad panty match either there. SmackDown, it's going to be pretty much pedestrian, and I think that's what they're catering when it comes to SmackDown.
Yeah, I guess so.
I pretty much like everything's already been said, so I really have nothing to add.
No, that's pretty much it. Now we're gonna probably that's it. We'll wrap up the WWE. Real quick with the Rampage, it happened. It was okay. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Like I said, they talked about Cade and the Baddies. They came out. They had a trio match. That's a new staple you're starting to see there. I wish they would have done that in with Charlotte and Sasha Banks. You could have done something really smooth there. Even Bailey, and you could have just done one more fighter. Maybe Tamia. Something an enforcer type. You could have done something like that. But AEW got it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it. That's really all I have to say for this episode.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we got. We'll leave it there. We want to thank everyone that listened to us, and thank you guys for watching along with us. And we'll see what Monday Night Raw is in store for us. The Monday Night Raw before WWE Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash on Peacock. And it'll be interesting to see, what that title match and what matches come out there. Will Cody get a jump? Because usually a night before, the week before the event, somebody, Rollins usually or whoever in that fight, the heel always ends up beating up on the face, or to see, right before setup, will he make it? So we'll see. Do you think there'll be some interference, like setting up another feud for Cody? Let me ask that question before we get out of here.
I think there's a chance for this feud to continue because Hell in a Cell is the next pay-per-view, and I guess they need some matches inside the cell. So
nice. I never thought about that.
So that's the thing. I feel like I think one or two things may happen. Either Cody wins, but maybe Seth wins by either Cody wins by like a fluke, but then Seth Rollins attacks him at the end of the match, or maybe Rollins wins by cheating, and then this leads to them doing a Hell in a Cell match at the next pay-per-view.
Who was that other guy that used to be his disciple when he was the Monday Night Messiah?
You mean Buddy Murphy?
I stopped watching that. Where is he?
He's in AEW, being the House of Black.
Okay.
So he traded from one cult group to another.
Oh, so he went from sniffing Smith Rollins' underwears to Malachi Black's underwears.
The same guy, he freaking injured his eye.
All right. So okay, I just wanted to see maybe my question I asked was I think an interference of a wrestler or someone that's not even in the company, or might interfere, or
I actually wish Seth Rollins had a stable.
Well, or he could have a new start something, someone to help him out. Maybe LA Knight comes in and do something disrupt to start a feud with Cody and LA Knight, the next thing or something, or Hell in a Cell. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, outside the box. Heck, it's midnight. We're a little tired, but you never know. But we'll leave that for next week.
We'll leave it for next week.
Yeah. So, heel, like always, he always makes the list, and we want to thank everyone. So we'll see you next time, guys.
Peace out.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab at that, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up.